nigga can't complain. Wave, yeah. Everything is straight. Wave, I'm in it for keepsake. In the field with the cleat lace. Beat freak with the bare face and a slick tongue, that's what she say. She look good, she a big tease when she bite lip with the wink face. Hella bad when she throwing it back. She bring that my way for the team play. For Pete's sake, I'm above average, I patted my stats. I gotta matter what he say. I'm the 2010 young LeBron James off the backboard, type of bad boy. Hold it down for the task force. If I run his fade, then you ask for it. Cross need to laugh more. I keep it 100 on dashboard. The live show needed passport, cause the beat bounced to the cap torn. Feel like I live it fast forward, but I asked for it. Misfit, got a quick lit on a crash course from the tattered garment to the tabloid. Spoke how I live it into existence. Might be ahead of myself, but the bank account did jump up a couple figures. Feel like nobody could with us. I'm a flight risk. I play among the stars. And
FYF Sportsman, it's Lamont. We are back with another podcast episode. Today we got our first game of the NBA Finals recap. Game 1 of the NBA Finals featuring the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns. Two unlikely teams. I mean, maybe the Milwaukee Bucks had more of a probability to get to the finals based on at least having a superstar on their team, an MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo. But, you know, they actually made it through the East, and they were one of the team's favorite to get out. They made it there. They were a small market team. But with regards to the Phoenix Suns, I don't think too many people predicted this Phoenix Suns team to find themselves in the NBA Finals with teams like the Los Angeles Clippers, the Lakers, the Nuggets, and the Jazz all ahead of them. I think we all, to some degree, believe that all of those teams, if healthy, could beat this Phoenix Suns team. But nonetheless, here we have it. The finals matchup is here. Game 1 was last night. And I think Game 1 really kind of answered a lot of questions about how these teams are going to play each other. Generally, these Game 1s are fill-out games. They're trying to fill out each other. They're trying to figure out what type of defenses work, what doesn't work, what strategies they're going to employ offensively. And we saw a lot of those things last night. And most of those things favored the Phoenix Suns in their 118-105 win over the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to get to those highlights. We're going to get to some game breakdowns here in a second. Before we get started, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video on YouTube if you haven't done so already. We're grinding. Again, the goal is to hit 50K subscribers within the next couple of months. I mean, I know we can hit that goal. The channel has been growing. I mean, salute to everybody watching from Newsbreak or even YouTube. But we got to get to the NBA Finals. We got to break down these highlights. I'm not going to hold it up any longer. Let's head over to the drawing board to check out these Game 1 highlights of the 2021 NBA Finals, Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, we're going to start in the third quarter. We see Chris Paul at this stage in the game. We see the Suns are up 83-68. Chris Paul drills a three. And really this third and fourth quarter was all about Chris Paul and Devin Booker essentially isolating a lot of the Milwaukee Bucks bigs off of the pick and roll action. The Milwaukee Bucks, we saw that one thing they want to do is they want to switch all screens, and ultimately that plan backfired on them. We see Milwaukee get in transition right here. They made a slight run towards the end of the game that gave them hope, but really nothing significant enough to overcome the attack that Phoenix gave them all night. Cameron Payne with a layup there. Cameron Payne had a solid game as well. As we see right here, PJ Tucker with the put back layup or by Middleton. And then we have the Bucks coming back. Remember, they made a run, and this Buck team, they play in spurts like this. They can have 3 quarters where they play terrible basketball, but they can have that 1 quarter that devastates you and potentially win games. Could the Suns sustain the run? Cameron Payne with a big 3 right there. He's been big in the playoffs this year. Giannis bringing the ball out right there. Quiet game for Giannis. But again, he did enough to help keep this team alive. Brook Lopez also supplemented some of the scoring that Giannis didn't give. Giannis right there would have put back. I thought it should have been an and one, and the Bucks were crying foul all night. I think they will be making some protests to the league about some of the calls, or at least non-calls they were getting. Booker with a 3 right there to extend the lead, 104-94. Chris Paul, and again, in isolation at the top of the key. His defender in no man's land. There's not much you can do there. All right. Bucks back on the attack right here. Probing the lane. He gets to Middleton, gets the floater. A solid night for Middleton as well. 29 points. He was their best player. All right, 3 right here by Bryn Forbes just to help him help him stay afloat. He has 6 points on the night as well. But, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul were too much. We're looking at Devin Booker. Devin Booker had a monstrous game, 27 points, and we got Chris Paul back in attack right here. Gets the and one. He's able to cut in front of Giannis, draw the foul, get the layup, and ultimately that was one of the buckets that sealed the deal as Ayton finishes at the rim right there. And it puts him up 117-102, 39 seconds to go. It's a done deal right here. Bucks is still fighting to the end. They hit a three with 30 seconds on the clock. But ultimately, the Phoenix Suns hold on for this victory, 118-105 to take a 1-0 series lead. All right, and there we have it right there. Suns win this one, as I said earlier, 118-105 for the Bucks. Again, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out a new plan of attack for this Phoenix Suns team. The defense that they brought today, the switching on the picks, was not a good strategy. Budenholzer really didn't alter that game plan. He stuck with it all night, and we saw that the Suns essentially loved it. The Suns did a really good job of not just initiating the pick and roll, but even if the initial pick and roll was stifled, they did a great job of getting to their secondary actions. We're going to go back to the drawing board later. We're going to do a little bit of footage breakdown on what went wrong for the Bucks. Let's run down the stats right now. For the stats of the game, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 20 points, 17 rebounds. Again, almost nice. That's considered a monster night for Giannis with 17 rebounds. But again, the 20 points in 35 minutes, they need a little bit more from him scoring the ball wise, at least as far as him imposing his will and controlling the game. If he's not controlling the game offensively with regards to dominating the paint, getting guys in foul trouble, applying pressure to Ayton, then he's essentially ineffective. PJ Tucker, 7 points. Brook Lopez, 17 points, 6 assists. Solid night for him in 23 minutes. Khris Middleton, 29 and 7. Holiday, 10 points. Just a quiet night for him in 40 minutes, but he had the toughest assignment of the night, having to guard Booker and Chris Paul, and he's switching back and forth on those assignments. Tough night for him. But outside of that, they really didn't get much help from their bench. When we look to the Suns did it by committee. When we look to Miles Bridges, 14 points. Ayton, 22 points, 19 rebounds. Only a handful of bigs have done that in NBA history. We're talking about the Wilts and the Kareems. So salute to Ayton for having a monster game in the NBA Finals. Devin Booker, 27 points, 6 assists. Exactly what they needed from Devin Booker. He carried them early. CP3 carried them late. Chris Paul, 32 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. We have Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson, strong game, 10 points. Cameron Payne, also 10 points. Really, if you had to take a deterrent from this game, the only bad thing that happened with regards to the Phoenix Suns was that they lost Dario Saric, who was diagnosed today with the torn ACL. So, he wasn't a key piece to their attack going into the finals, but he was key in the fact that when the Milwaukee Bucks go small, let's say they bring Bobby Portis in, bringing a guy in like Saric, he's more apt, he's more suited to take that role. So now I'm sure we'll see more Frank Kaminsky. He's similar in style to Saric. He's not as good of a shooter, but we're going to see a lot more him in the NBA Finals now that Saric is down for injury. He's probably not going to be back till mid next season, according to reports. But again, today, the tell of the tape tells a lot of things for the Milwaukee Bucks. We know they have the personnel to be an elite defensive team. But regardless of how elite you are defensively, if you don't have a great team defensive scheme, especially against this Phoenix Suns team, and as I told you guys before, with this Phoenix Suns team, I feel like their point guard play is elite. And point guard, and we see this switch between Chris Paul and Devin Booker. They both switch between handling the ball. Devin Booker in the half court, Chris Paul in transition and also in the half court. And the way they attack the pick and roll, the way they made decisions and reads out of the pick and roll, the way Devin Booker floated off ball, all of these things played a major role into why the Phoenix Suns had a lot of success and really got anything they wanted all night. They started the game off making tough shots, and you expect that when a team is playing at home. But as the game waned on, they had to find more intricate ways to manufacture buckets, and that's exactly what they did. Let's go ahead and head over to the drawing board. We're going to head over to the drawing board to break the footage down, what went wrong for this Milwaukee Buck defense. All right, how we have it right here. Chris Paul coming off the pick and roll. The one thing that I see right here is we have We have Deandre Ayton, who's actually slipping the screen. He's slipping the screen. This is not a real screen. And PJ Tucker and Giannis Antetokounmpo are finding themselves switching for whatever reason. All Giannis needs to do is stay with Ayton. He doesn't need to switch here. And they make this more complicated than what it is. So as we see this play evolve, now you've switched. You've put PJ Tucker at a disadvantage. And now you've given the Phoenix Suns the matchup that they want. A big on a guard. We know Giannis can guard out there, but we need Giannis, or they need Giannis in the paint to help rebound. But now with the mismatch, we see Chris Paul, the decision to swing the ball to the corner. Now Ayton has a seal at the rim, and it shifts the entire Buck defense. And now they have to figure out what they're going to do. All right, we see now campaign flashes middle. They get the ball to the middle of the court because they have the high-low action. This is like a practice play drawn up. All right, Ayton did a great job of sealing right here in this instance, and all campaign needs to do is throw it up at the rim. Easy layup all night. All right, so here, again, we have another set right here. And I want to see how they occupy Brook Lopez. All right, so Brook Lopez, his assignment is Devin Booker on this play. All right, and he also has to watch Ayton. All right, so he needs to communicate with Bobby Portis. He needs to watch Ayton, but he turns his head slightly. Ayton goes to screen, and coming off that screen, because Brook Lopez has to sit so far back on that screen, you're giving CP3 a lot of room and to operate off that pick and roll. But we know CP3 likes to attack that elbow and then probe the opposite way, right? Because he just doesn't want to go shoot the mid-range jumper at the free throw line. He probes. Devin Booker lifts up to create space. He gives that space to CP3. He hits the floater in the lane. And so there we have it right there. That was just a small sample size of some of the deficiencies that we saw in that Milwaukee Buck defense. Budenholzer's gonna have to come back with a more intricate strategy. I think it's gonna be about more attention to detail with regards to PJ Tucker and Giannis Antetokounmpo. They're gonna have to be able to identify slips and actual screens. They can't let Ayton just simply deceive them in slip screens and they find themselves switching when they don't need to. It really puts this defense in a peculiar situation because when those slips happen, it gives Ayton an advantage. It allows the Phoenix Suns to attack the middle of the court. And when they can attack the middle of the court, if they've switched and Ayton can sell his man, he's going to live in the paint all day. And we saw with Ayton 19 point or his 22 points and 19 rebounds, he was able to feast in the post primarily due to great guard play, great decision making, and I love how the Phoenix Suns are pacing this game. They're going to the big guy early. They're allowing him to eat, and the guards like CP3 or even Devin Booker, they're going to dominate the game late, as we saw CP3 did in the fourth quarter. So the Bucks are going to have to go back to the drawing board. They got a lot to figure out going into game two. I think it's essential that the Bucks steal one of these games. I do not think this is a series that they can recover from if they go down 0-2 to the Phoenix Suns. So again, I would, if I'm the Bucks, you have to look at this next game as if it decides the series. So you got to come with a new plan of attack, even if it means reducing Brook Lopez's minutes, maybe playing Bobby Portis more. We saw that they played Pat Connaughton 28 minutes that game. He's not giving you much offensively, but you're gonna have to figure something out because Brook Lopez seems too slow a foot to guard a lot of the pick and roll actions that the Phoenix Suns are throwing at him. And even when they defend it well, the Phoenix Suns are using their secondary actions to confuse the Milwaukee Bucks to get easy buckets time and time again, and we saw that in game one. So again, we'll be doing another recap for game two, so make sure you guys tune in to FYF Sports on Newsbreaker YouTube. Make sure you tune in to FYF Sports. We'll be dropping these videos to recap every single game of the finals until we have a champion. All right, we also drop other podcast episodes, whether it's on YouTube, Newsbreak. All right, just make sure you follow us on Newsbreak, follow us on YouTube, and we're going to continue to give you guys the best sports and news breakdowns out there. But it's FYF Sports, man. It's been another great podcast episode. We'll be back with more sports and news later, but until then, it's FYF Sports, and we out.
Wow, wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. A Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got just with no lights on. I Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Wow, just hit that mirror for that fit check. Drip coming down the waist, that back don't get wet. Daddy, you gotta chill, that's what my kids say. Daddy been paying bills, my pockets bending. Ben Franklin's. I get money, then get low, see what you thinking. Orange label in my hand, guess what I'm drinking. Ever since I dropped top speed, my line's been janking. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got just with no lights on. I Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got just with no lights on. I Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Yeah, I was with the grease, I was with the grit. Yeah, leave you out to freeze if you're not legit. No, tried to call my bluff, I was stacking chips. Yeah, mad years it was rough, now I flipped the switch. Whoa, big checks on my body, I'm not talking swish. No, please just get from around me, don't you move an inch. Yeah, don't mean to be rude, but I'm not taking pics. No, you keep making moves but never taking risks. How? Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got just with no lights on. I Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got just with no lights on. I Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone.